Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Inside Artesian Basketball here on WREP 15 Sports. I'm your host, Eric Meyer, joined as always by Artesian head coach Kip Staggs. A lot to talk about here on this show. We've got highlights from Bloomington North, from Garin Catholic. We'll have a preview of Mid-State Conference matchup coming up on Friday against Perry, and also a game, weather permitting, Saturday against Providence Cristo Rey. Coach, let's go down to Bloomington and talk of the battle with the Bloomington North Cougars. I know you were really happy with the effort that your ball club put into that against a very good, athletic Bloomington North team. I think you guys did a very good job controlling tempo. Unfortunately, the Cougars were able to shoot a lot of free throws, get to the free throw line, hit some of those, and they were able to get the victory in the end.
Well, just very pleased with our grit and toughness. You've got to play with that on the road to give yourself a chance to win. I thought we were very competitive on both ends of the floor. We start off the first quarter, and we found ourselves down 8-7, but again, did a good job on both ends. We missed three layups. There was two block charges that went against us during that quarter, but we felt like we played a good quarter. Our second quarter was a little bit more active on both ends. Both teams picked it up offensively. We found ourselves behind a little bit there at the halftime break, but just very pleased with our grit and toughness. We got down early to start the third quarter, got down 9. We called a quick timeout. Got everybody back on the same page, basically, and then we were able to chip away. And it was a 2 or 3 point ball game with 3 or 4 minutes to go, and we just ran out of gas a little bit there at the end.
Ran out of gas, ran out of players as well. You can't get fined, really, by the IHSAA in terms of everything, but it's a lot of free throw shot in a game that lasted a long time, about an hour and 40-minute game. It's typically about an hour and 15, hour and 20, a lot of free throws. 42 free throw attempts that Bloomington North made. Now, obviously, there are some at the end of the game when you're trying to foul to get back into it. I thought that controlled a little bit of the tempo of the game a lot. You guys did to an extent, but the officials kind of hamstrung some things and what really either team was able to do.
Yeah, probably the more frustrating thing was the consistency of the calls. A tight, really touchy foul at the beginning of the game doesn't get called later in the game. Block charges that were called one way at the other end weren't necessarily called the same at the other end. So, that's the frustrating part of the game that we just have to contend with and move forward. And, I thought our guys handled themselves very well. I thought our crowd handled themselves very well in maybe somewhat difficult scenarios. And so, there's a win in that alone. But our guys, I thought they really competed, played really, really hard against, as you mentioned, an athletic and a pretty good ball club. It's probably their best team they've had in several years, and, they're going to win 16, 18 games, and, they've proven that they're one of the better teams in the area. But, overall, I thought we moved the ball well, we shared it, we held them to 37% from the floor, we kept our turnovers down for the most part, and some of those turnovers you can't really count to a certain degree because they're charges, they're offensive fouls. So in ways we passed the ball and distributed it, we did a good job. They got a guy that got loose on us a couple times there in the second half, and he made some threes, and that's going to happen against a good team, and that's where we've got to improve and recognize those types of things. But, we did a lot of good things in that game, and we just came up a little bit short. Martinsville
comes up a little bit short against Bloomington North. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights from the contest against the Cougars. You aren't going to see very many of the free throws here. So not a ton of highlights, but you see offensively here right away you guys kind of set the tone.
Yeah, we do a nice job right there, a little flex cut, and find Tyler there on the block. There's a loose ball that we pick up, a 50-50 ball, and you'll see it's 5-4. And there's Chase running the floor and able to find that pass from Andy, and played with a lot of energy throughout that first half and the whole game really. Here's Reed on a quick pull-up to tighten that game up to 19-15. We get the ball back. Here we run a little screen roll action, and Reed's able to find himself in the middle of the floor with a pull-up jumper off of a screen from Tyler. Here we get Tyler at the top of the key, and he makes a nice little short pull-up jumper. Actually got fouled on that play. Should have been an and one. There's Tyler kicking it out to Chase, making an extra pass to Reed. And Reed's able to find himself on the baseline and put it in there in the third quarter. So, we really are able to do some good things. Here you find us down a little bit, but we fought back. Here's Elijah with a quick three on the left wing, knocks it down from an assist from Tyler. Here's Andy getting the ball at the top of the key, drives it in, and is able to scoop it in there to keep that lead by Bloomington North to 5. Here's a nice play by Andy, a little hustle play, and we're able to just stay in striking distance during this time. Here it is back to 8, and we're in that second half, and Reed's able to drive and get the foul line there and put it in there for the Artesians. And so, we did a lot of good things. Here's Reed on a drive, getting to the basket, tough shot, and, underneath a little bit of distress. Here we find Tyler inside. We felt like we got their big guys in trouble a little bit, in some foul trouble, and so that helped us be able to go inside. And here's a hustle play by Tyler on a loose ball, and Reed's able to get in there and score it. We actually stopped the play there because we had a couple guys down. Here's a nice drive by Andy, scoring it. And, we were just able to chip away and stay in striking distance. Here's a nice outlet pass. Elijah's able to put it in, and he gets loose. And we cut the lead to 5 at that point. Here's Reed hitting a 3, cuts the lead to 3 with about 4.5 to go. And then before you know it, Andy fouls out, Reed fouls out, and it just kind of keeps going from there. Tyler on a nice drive, and that play right there is, that would have been a block on the other end. We don't get that call. That's probably the frustrating part about the way the game was called, and you just like to feel like that you had a fair opportunity at that point. I don't think in the several years that I've coached as a head coach or an assistant coach, I was probably more upset that the way the result came out for us, because I really felt like our guys played really well, played extremely hard, played with a lot of grit and toughness, and we just didn't get the result that we wanted, and I thought the kids deserved. And I think that was probably, for me personally, that was the more upsetting part because of the way that we played. We played really, really well, did a lot of good things in that contest, and we just didn't get the result that you thought that the kids deserved. And so that part was disappointing. But, I think we gained a lot. We learned a lot through that game, through that contest, and kind of see a little bit about what our team can be as we continue to grow here during the mid-season.
So you learned from the contest against Bloomington North. You're able to come away just short in that one, but like you said, hopefully some good takeaways, things that you can apply later on. We were supposed to play on Saturday, kind of got canceled, had a remake for Monday, and then it got rescheduled again for Tuesday with Guerin Catholic, and the Golden Knights come to town, and this is a game you guys kind of get out early on Guerin Catholic, and then all of a sudden kind of the well just runs dry, so to speak, and Guerin Catholic able to come away with a victory.
Yeah, we start off a great first quarter. We're up 16-17 to 5, and really we're shooting the ball well. We slowed them down offensively. We felt like we were in a pretty good place. And then from the second quarter on, we got outscored 50-30, which was really disappointing in the sense of how well we had played on Friday night. And it was really more of a head scratcher than anything else. We didn't have any defensive rhythm. We didn't feel like we had any offensive rhythm. Defensively, we really struggled with our pick and roll, and that's something that we've worked a lot of time on over the course of the season. We went to the zone, and the zone seemed to not be very effective as well. We gave up the baseline. We let them take dribble drives. And then, offensively, we just really, again, didn't have any offensive flow. We couldn't get really organized in the sense of, this is working well, let's stay with it. Unlike the Bloomington North game where we felt like you had a little bit of rhythm to the game. We didn't have that rhythm on either end on Tuesday.
And so Guerin Catholic comes away with a victory over the Artesians on Tuesday night. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights from the contest against Guerin Catholic here. Guerin out early.
Well, Guerin's in a 2-3 zone, and we put a little play in there, and Tyler steps out and hits the 3 to tie it up, and just really got it off to a good start. And here's Reed driving it in into the basket, and being contested there, and he's able to finish around the rim. And here's Tyler on finding Noah. Noah gets the start and was able to come off that flex cut and get the basket. And you find us right through here. We got pretty good rhythm what we're doing. There's a nice backdoor cut, nice pass from Elijah, finds Tyler inside for an easy 2, and again feel pretty good. Here's Reed with an offensive rebound and a putback, and able to just kind of add to that lead right through here. Here's a down screen, and Reed's able to make a little step back, jump shot to put us up 14-5, and 17-7. Here's a nice slip by Tyler. Elijah finds him on the slip, and we go up 19-9. And from that point forward, we seem to struggle a little bit on both ends of the floor, even though you see Tyler there on a nice little baseline shot. Here's a nice little cut. Tyler's able to get in the paint. Tough shot, but able to knock it down. And, we're up 23-15, and then they go on just a huge run from that point forward. I kind of question that, whether or not why that wasn't a foul right there in there.
I didn't bring up the shading in this one, but I think
that one was a little bit tough.
I didn't think that Reed got very many breaks in the contest for whatever reason. He seemed to be getting beat up a lot in the game and didn't have much to show for it.
Yeah, that happens sometimes when you handle the ball a lot and you drive it in there. Here's a nice little play by Noah, and really Noah had a nice game for us. Was really active offensively. We just hope that he continues. There's a nice break. Tyler finds Andy on the right side for an easy two, and here's a cut by Tyler, and by Noah. Noah's able to find the pass from Tyler. He's able to get to the free throw line. Here we're trying to set up a little play for Elijah, and we're not able to reverse the ball, but Andy's able to find that pass on the left side and knock that three down. In this contest, we shot the ball fairly well. We didn't guard the ball as well as we needed to, but we were 2 for 14 from the three-point line, and that was an area that really probably hurt us a little bit. We didn't shoot the three as well on Tuesday compared to some of our other nights, and so if we get 2 or 3 of those threes to go down that normally have been going in, now all of a sudden we're in a little bit better position offensively. We still didn't have an answer for them defensively, and that's probably one takeaway from the game that we felt like we got to get better at.
Trying to get better at that. The one thing the Tuesday night game does is it lets all the other coaches around the area that aren't playing come there and watch your contest. So I don't know, good or bad, if they saw that one in person or not. But Mark James is there to watch the contest, a couple other coaches as well. He's going to be the opponent for you guys coming up on Friday night in a Mid-State Conference matchup, and that's going to be a little bit of a change. You kind of know what he's done. You can kind of go back through the files, I guess, and pull up some old Franklin Central stuff, but this is a guy that's had a lot of success, a Martinsville guy, and Mark James moved around from Franklin Central, Ben Davis, and now at Perry Meridian, and now all of a sudden, lo and behold, you've got a pretty good Perry Meridian ball club.
Well, they're much improved, from a year ago, and they play with a different pace than they have in the past. They're going to be very, very methodical on the offensive end. You're going to see them make 10, 12, 14 passes. They're not going to take a pass and shoot it. They're going to be very, very slow in what they do, and they're going to be very deliberate about what they want to get. And so, they're going to run motion. You're going to see man-to-man from them. You're going to see an athletic team at the same time, but very, very much a team in control underneath his wise leadership. They're well-schooled, and they're only going to get better, as their season wears on and as he's there longer, they're just going to improve. And, one thing, and this is no offense to anybody else, but, when Coach James was named the coach there at Perry, all of a sudden our coaching fraternity, if you will, in our conference got much better.
Yeah.
I think in recent years, if you look at, the new coach at Greenwood and new coach at Perry, you see a pretty good stable of coaches there that have had some experience, have had some success. And, you're not going to out-coach too many people in our league. That's just the way it goes. And, you mentioned people that were at our game on Tuesday. Whiteland was here to watch us. Bloomington South was here to watch us. And that's the one thing our kids maybe don't realize is that, other teams scout us. And, they have film on us and they watch what we do. And they're going to try to take things away from us. And, those are things that are just going to happen. And so, it's no different from what we do. We go out there and we try to take things away, and people are going to try to do the same thing as well. And so that's how you grow as a team. That's how you grow to get better, because you got to be able to counter what you throw out there on the floor.
So Coach James is going to have that slow pace of play. what's the game going to look like for you guys? What are you guys going to want to try to do then, pace of play wise? Because in the same token, at times you guys like to control the pace of play, whether you want to speed it up a little bit or slow it down. So what can we maybe expect out of the contest on Friday night?
I think your better teams are able to play at two paces. I think you can play at a fast pace and score and be productive and efficient. And I think you can also play at a slow pace in the half court and be productive and efficient. And I think your better teams can play that way. And then there's some coaches that just say, hey, we're going to be fast all the time.
Right.
Or we're going to be slow all the time. You think back to Lagodi years ago,
right.
and Butcher Ball, and they were going to pass it 25
right.
times and the score was going to be 22-25 or whatever. And that's just not a philosophy that I believe in. But when we get in the half court, we've got to be able to operate in the half court. You got to be able to screen some people and read people and do some things. But I love playing fast too. I think our kids enjoy that game. They enjoy getting out. They enjoy that open court scenario. So those are just two different styles. But I think your better teams can play both of them. And if they play really well in both of those schemes, they're pretty hard to beat. What we want to do then on Friday is to be able to play in both of those scenarios. I think. But we're going to have to be patient defensively, not to give up something silly because of a defensive breakdown, because they are so methodical in what they do. And so we're going to have to be very patient defensively, hang in there, and then rebound like crazy. Limit them to one shot. If we have the opportunity to run and run out some easy baskets, and we need to do that. And then, they're a pretty good defensive team. They're much improved on that end of the floor, and it's going to make it harder for us to score. But I think at the same time, if we can be patient defensively and run when we have the opportunity, those things will help us.
Should be a good matchup coming up on Friday night, and it's an extended matchup, if you will. We've made some changes in the schedule. The girls are going to be playing now at 6 o'clock on Friday night against Perry Meridian, and then the varsity boys starting at 7:30 as well.
Yeah, so as a matter of fact, this is a little precursor of some things we're going to do next year. So, we had talked to some schools here in the last year about moving to a boy-girl doubleheader scenario. Decatur Central was interested in doing it this year, not able to do it this year because of a contractual agreement that they had. So we're going to have Decatur Central and a boy-girl doubleheader next year. Greenwood, through our discussions at the beginning of the year, will be a boy-girl doubleheader next year. Perry Meridian, in this case, is really about the weather.
Right.
And what has occurred is looking at the forecast ahead for Saturday, knowing that we need to have this conference game in, looking at Perry's schedule next week and our girls' schedule next week, this just made more sense for us to try to put it together here on Friday night. And it's really going to be an extravaganza. I mean, we're going to introduce our middle school teams, boys and girls. Our little Arties will be here. Our pep band will be here. So amidst all to putting it together, it's really going to be a neat night, and I think it's going to be well attended. We've got a few extra staff in place because we anticipate that it'll be well attended, and so we hope a lot of people come out and see us, because you may not be able to get out for a couple days
right.
after Friday night. Who knows?
So it should be a good matchup. The girls are going to play at 6 o'clock on the varsity. The boys will follow at 7:30. The JVs just kind of flip-flop in the back gym during that time, with the boys going at 6, girls JV at 7:30. Is that correct?
That's right, that's correct. And we were supposed to have a freshman game on Friday night with Perry on the boys' side, but that's been moved to Tuesday to accommodate the JV boys and girls. And then, mix in there here between now and the next time I speak with you, that we join you. Monday night is our little Artie clinic. So we'll have a couple hundred little Artie players here in our gym on Monday night. Our players will sign autographs and take them in, show them a little instruction, and it's a really a good night for our program when we bring those groups together.
A pretty good night. We didn't even mention the Providence Cristo Ray game that's slotted for Saturday as well, but a lot on tap for the Artesians coming up. It starts up Friday night. Boys and girls doubleheader at John R. Wooden Gym. Coach, as always, appreciate you joining us. We'll see you there on Friday night.
Thank you. Appreciate the coverage.
That's Artesian head coach Kip Staggs here inside Artesian basketball. Get out there Friday night. Get out there early, 6 o'clock, girls playing, then the boys to follow. Lots of stuff going on. Get out there and support the Artesians. As always, I'd like to thank the head coach for coming in for Kip Staggs, along with the RTV2 students who helped produce it. I'm Eric Meyer. We'll see you again next time inside Artesian basketball.